Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of Entrepreneurship in Focus. I'm your host, Marlon Joseph. It has been a pleasure interacting with you guys over the past weeks, and I'm super excited to interact with you this evening. How are you guys doing? I've had a really busy day. Today, I participated in a speakers regional youth debating competition. And of course, you know which team got first. Yours truly, we spoke about the public service rules being archaic. And it was quite an interesting debate. Kudos to the persons over at Parliament and the speaker for taking such an initiative so that youth can be involved and can debate meaningfully as we contribute towards growth within Guyana. How are you guys doing? I am seeing our regular persons joining on the live. I see Margaret joining from Barbados. I am seeing Shariza from Canada. I am seeing Siandra Bowman, Jamal Holland, and even our dear friend Shoy Thal. I want to say to you, Shoy Thal, whatever you're going through, remember that there are people who love you and just hold the faith. You can do it. You're a brilliant young man. And all our regular supporters and viewers, welcome to our program. This evening, I've got an amazing guest joining us from Zoom. She is several things. She is Toastmaster President. She is a psychologist. She is a chef. And she is super excited to be on our program as well. I know she will share tons of information designed to help each and every one of us grow. You need to remember to share the live stream. You cannot benefit from all the information by yourself. You need to share the live stream so that other persons can hear of all of the phenomenal things happening at Entrepreneurship in Focus, and they can tap into some of the opportunities that are available. As well as if you know persons who can benefit from having an interview on our show, you can let them know that they can tune in, they can make contact with me, and we'd be most happy to facilitate their interview. Good night, Rhonda Spencer and Flatty Singh. It is a pleasure to have you. I must also let you guys know that the Together We Win Business Network is hosting its Emotional Intelligence and Creative Problem Solving Skills workshop. So this workshop is geared towards helping persons understand their emotional capabilities and how it affects, and how their emotions affects relationship. So if you know somebody who can benefit from this workshop, feel free to refer them to the Together We Win Business Network. They can give me a call on 652-1959. And now for our beautiful guest, Toastmaster, Chef, President, CEO, Madam Debbie Houston. Welcome to our program, Entrepreneurship in Focus.
Good night, everyone, and thank you, Marlon, for inviting me. It's wonderful to be here.
Thank you for taking time out from your schedule to join us, as well as Arjun. Arjun, we've missed you. Where have you been? Sending shout out to our regular supporters. It is a pleasure to have you guys here. Last week, Debbie, we had a phenomenal guest. We had the one and only Guyanese critic. From the time he started his interview to its finish, he was spitting fire. The information that he shared were relevant, timely to help entrepreneurs grow. I love the fact that he was able to share about an entrepreneur being resilient and you have to be fearless as an entrepreneur. You've got to get up and go after what is it you want in life. And those are some of the things that stood out to me. And after that interview, we've had persons reaching out and saying, yes, this was powerful, this stood out to me. I really like that. Did you have a chance to look at it?
Yes, I did, actually. And it was amazing, I didn't know critic had all that heat in him, but he was phenomenal indeed, and I can very much relate with him. I come from a family of business, that business mindset, and my parents were business persons, and during in my family, there have been one and two of them that was in business. And so I grew up knowing business, but not the ins and outs of it and what it entails and the sleepless nights that you go through and worrying about certain things while having a business.
Mm-hmm.
But as I grew and I took a different direction. I went off to university and studied to be a psychologist, and I worked in that arena for 20 something years. But in the meantime, I had a passion for food.
Mm-hmm.
Food was my thing, and even though I was studying to be a psychologist, food and entrepreneurship was what took me through university.
Mm-hmm.
I used that aspect of my life to help, pay for my tuition and various things. However, it was just a side hobby at the time. I wasn't looking at it as something to be in business about.
Mm-hmm.
But after I completed my studies and I worked in that area for the 20 something years, I decided I needed a change.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to explore my passion, and my passion was cooking. Mind you, I learned to cook at the age of 8 years old in the country area. And I'm
Interesting.
not from the country, but on the fireside, I cooked my first meal.
Mm-hmm.
Want to know what it is?
What's that? Egg
Boar
and
and fried
rice?
fish. Boar and fried fish.
Bura and the fried
And
fish.
demerara rice.
Big up to the Bura and the fried fish.
Yes.
Interesting. You,
And go ahead. Sorry.
you mentioned that you went to university and entrepreneurship is what took you through it. I want you to zoom in a bit in that field. I cannot let you go without minding your business in its entirety.
Okay. So like I said, I loved cooking. And I was always in the kitchen making something. I would have attended a few courses at Carnegie School of Home Economics.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I made some lovely pastries and stuff, and I took it to my class and I shared with my colleagues, with my friends, my classmates. And sorry, and they were impressed. And after then, they said, you know what? Instead of we having to buy things or pay from other people, why don't you make some things and bring it to sell?
Okay.
And I was like, make things and bring it to sell me? No way, And they kept pushing me, and that is where it all started. At one point, when the university had the chancellor and so on had their business meetings, I got the job of catering for those business meetings.
Lovely.
And so so that's how it all started. And then I started making things to sell from home, and that was able to pay for my tuition, etc. during my time in the university. But after I graduated, I put that aside, slow it down a bit and concentrated on what I had studied for. And that was, well, at the time, psychology was not really a program at the university at that time. And so I had to study social work.
Okay, I got you.
And so I ended up working in the social work field, right? And that was how I went on for a number of years. And then I picked up back on doing my hobby, catering. I would get some, 1 2 jobs for catering for small functions, etc. And when in 2010, I decided I run my course with my career,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed a break. I needed to do something different, or else I would lose it. And so I went back to Carnegie. I upgraded myself, I also attended pastry school in Trinidad and continued to upgrade. In the meantime, while I was upgrading, I started putting myself out there, advertising for anybody who wanted catering done for functions, etc. And that's how it all started out back. And now I have my own online business. At one point, before I went online, I was the co-owner of a restaurant, Taste Buds, in Rob Street, and I was co-owner for that restaurant for 3 years, and I was a chef for that restaurant.
I'm now learning this
However,
about you.
yes, yes, I did own a restaurant at one time. But as in anything, when you first go into, when you become an entrepreneur and and you take that risk to venture into something larger, sometimes we don't always do the research, the amount of research that we need to do.
True.
And also, it's also important of your location that you're opening the business in. It's important of how you hire your staff. Is a lot that goes into it, and so it did not work out for me for a while. However, it didn't deter me either.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it made me want to learn more, put certain things in place, so when I go back to opening another business, another restaurant, this time around, it would be better dealt with, better in terms of having certain systems in place. I would have learned a lot from that. And also what mainly important that I found out after I had that failure was that you need to have somebody mentoring and coaching you.
Okay.
It's important, especially somebody who is in that business. It must be somebody in the business that you would like to go into. So first you have to have passion for what you are doing, because I find some persons go into business because of the money and not because of they're passionate about what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I say to people, if you're going to go into business, it must be something that you are passionate about. That even if it doesn't happen, the success doesn't happen right away, you still will continue to push and work towards bringing it to the fruition that you want it to be.
Lovely. You shared quite a bit, and I really love the way our discussions are going and you sharing about areas of your growth and avenues that you would have had to take so as to help your business. And I love the fact that you stated that a mentor is needed to help you grow. And having a mentor that is in similar field or business who walks the walk, who is able to walk the walk and who can point you in the right direction. So I love that you share that aspect to help us grow. I'm also seeing some persons joining our live, Sukram. I'm seeing Beverly Parvati, and of course, Siandra Bowman. Welcome to Entrepreneurship in Focus. So Debbie, I'm going to take you back a bit so as to understand your entrepreneurial mindset. You did mention that you grew up and you were exposed to a few family members who were in business. What is it? How was the experience back then to what you would compare right now?
Well, mainly it was my parents that I would have seen and been around at the time, because when I was about 11 years old, I was just about to start high school, and my parents had bought this property where I am now, and they built our first store. They built the first store, and that was my first experience with that. with being in it was a variety store at the time, so we sold from soap to roll, basically. We also had a snackette, and so I sometimes was able to be in the kitchen to see how things were being prepared, and that really drew me into my passion. You see?
Yeah.
Also, seeing how my parents had to get up really early in the morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, to start preparing to open the store and to get the snacket going. Because we had breakfast deals at from 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and so we had to be up early. So while I'm preparing for school, I had to do some chores before in the snacket or in the shop before heading out to school. But like I said, at that young age, you wouldn't have everything that you need to know about getting into business. At that time, I didn't even thinking about business. My sister was the person who was more into that frame mind. Even though I liked what our shop entailed, and I liked our store entailed, and I liked what that we had a snacket and all of the like, I did not have that mindset to thinking about going into business one day.
Okay.
What started it is what I explained after when I started university. That is what kick-started that. When my friend said to me, "You can sell this stuff and pay for your tuition."
How did you feel at that awakening when your friend actually said to you, Debbie, you can sell this stuff? What was that kind of transition like?
I didn't think I could do it because, like I said, I didn't have that mindset to do a business. But then, when I thought about it and I got and persons were buying up my stuff, I got requests to bring certain things to sell. Then that is what pushed me, because I realized, wait a minute, I can actually make money doing this. I didn't have to. My parents didn't have to continue to take care of me or to pay for my stuff. I can do this on my own, right?
Nice.
And that is what actually kick-started what I wanted to do. And I realized I can do this on the one side and still do my studies for school,
Nice.
right?
So you were giving the
So
canteen a run for their money.
yes, I was. I will say that I was. Because when persons found out, that I was selling stuff, they would come to buy. Of course, it had to be pre-ordered as well. I wasn't just taking things there to sell.
Indeed.
They pre-order it, and then I take it up here. Yeah.
So your business right now, there are quite a number of services I see that you have. For instance, your business name is the Glitzy Glamour Cakes, event planning, culinary school, catering service. Could you let us understand these services that you provide?
Okay. So with the events planning, we plan weddings, we plan corporate functions, retreats, and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Right? Birthday parties, showers, baby showers, wedding show, bridal showers. Yes. For the catering aspect, we cater local and international cuisines, all types of finger foods from various countries and locally. The culinary school actually is what I'm truly pushing right now. Currently, I have classes. As a matter of fact, I'm supposed to have classes starting on the 11th. Cakes and pastry classes. It's elementary and advanced. And I also give back to the community too.
Okay.
So I would, well, this is the first time I'm doing it actually, and it's part of of a Toastmasters project I'm doing, whereby um, I started a class with 6 women from the Cancer Foundation,
Okay.
and I'm working with them to enhance their cooking and baking skills, and so that they can. It's an empowerment program for them, and also to teach them about entrepreneurship as well. Because after the class ends and they graduate, they can decide if they want to start up a small business on their own.
Okay.
So it's not just about them learning to bake and cook, but also they're getting some entrepreneurship information that can help them to kickstart.
So do you find lots of persons signing up for the culinary school?
Yes, sometimes I get a lot of persons calling in
Mm-hmm.
to sign up, and sometimes it's a bit slow, but right now I'm getting a lot of calls since I put out my last advertisement.
Were there any period where you were catering for an event and a major setback happened and you had to improvise so as to be able to deliver? If so, could you shed some light?
Uh, not at this point, not any I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
I basically, when persons come to me to cater for the function, there are a number of questions. It's like an interview I go through with them
Mm-hmm.
to know exactly what it is that they want. And I ensure that my suppliers can get it for me way before the time. Like perhaps maybe 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time to be able to cater for that function, because I don't want when the time comes I'm not able to get what I need.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to source what I need as early as possible. In
Mm-hmm.
the event that we're not able to do that, and I do it like that for 2 reasons. Like I said, because I want to ensure I have the products, ingredients that I need to use, and just in the event that we are unable to get specifically what is needed, I can substitute. I have the time to
Mm-hmm.
put something else in place so that I'm not shocked or confused or anything when that time comes, especially if it's for a huge event.
Mm-hmm. So, and while you were talking, we have some pictures of work you would have done, and that will be shared on our screen. Uh, were there any recipe that somebody would have given you, or some kind of fancy dish, and you could not have been able to deliver on that?
No,
Okay, so in other words, anything that you can deliver.
anything I can deliver.
Interesting. So we've got to definitely come to you um, for your catering services.
Because let me expand on that a bit. Why I say that is because when you're a chef and somebody reaches out to you to make a dish that you may not have made before, what I would do is practice on that dish before the time comes that I have to use that dish to ensure that I get a good result from it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And once you know to follow recipes with the experience that I have, and I'm not just talking about myself, but for other chefs as well. Once you have a certain amount of experience, you can follow any recipe
Mm-hmm.
and be able to work with it in such a way that you can get a good result in most cases
Mm-hmm.
if you have the time. However, if you're in a cooking show and you're given strange ingredients to work with, you may not really get the result you're looking for because of the timing that you have to work with
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that you never worked with that ingredient. So something like that, if I'm probably in a show and I'm given ingredients to work with that I never did work with, and I have to come up with a dish to incorporate these ingredients, the possibility exists that I may not be successful in
Mm-hmm.
that product coming to fruition. However, if I'm given time to work with it, then yes.
Okay. So, general business wise, what great challenge have you encountered in the execution of Glitzy Glamour, and how were you able to overcome that challenge?
Could you repeat the question? The first
What
part?
major challenge have you experienced in business, and how were you able to overcome that challenge?
Okay. My major challenge that I really experienced with my business, and I think this is something that many persons would say to you, is finances.
Mm-hmm.
Finances in terms of keeping the business afloat, even as a startup, if you don't have the proper capital that is needed to start up your business, it can be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And but once you would have been able to be once you would have been in certain uh,
Positions.
working with certain financial institutions
Mm-hmm.
and also programs that can assist in helping you to manage your finances. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That eventually you will be able to overcome them to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
However, no business is without that type of challenge. And especially when you're starting up, and sometimes in between, it depends on the timing of your business. Okay?
Yeah, because some businesses are seasonal, and you've got to
Exactly.
understand your business and its model before you actually jump into it. You've got to do your research, your groundwork to be able to know the business to grow your business. So you have to know your business to grow your business, and of course, while you have to do that, you don't have to have all of the nitty-gritties put together, but the basic information that you have, you should be able to make wise, informed decisions. So, Debbie, help us understand what are your whys in business? Why are you in business?
I'm in business because, first of all, I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm passionate about what I do. And I also want to provide a service to persons that needs it
Mm-hmm.
in various areas. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, as you would have mentioned before, I have a lot of backgrounds, and one of them is nutrition.
Yes.
Okay? Now, I am diabetic. I've been diagnosed as a diabetic about 3 years, a little before the pandemic. And so I had to learn to eat certain foods that I would not have really be interested in eating, learn to cook certain meals that I would not have been interested in,
Mm-hmm.
if I want to save my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, because this is something in Guyana, diabetes is one of the diseases that is very prevalent amongst our citizens. Diabetes
And
is
I was
certain
able
type
to
2.
learn that it's not only big people, young people are having diabetes as well.
Exactly. A lot of young people are diagnosed with diabetes. And so at this point, I had to learn to be able to know what I can eat, what I can't eat, especially controlling my sugar glucose and all of these things. And so I did research into it. I took some courses in it. And so now I can, apart from myself, I help other people in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I do, persons can get cakes, pastries, or any dish that they're interested in, but using ingredients that would not spike their sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, last Saturday I did a diabetic cake for a customer.
Interesting.
I could it didn't not have I couldn't use actual sugar,
Mm-hmm.
and I could use, and even though the diabetic cake, honey is one of the ingredients that you, but again, honey has sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't use honey either. So I had to get a specific substitute to use in that cake.
Okay.
So services like that I offer for persons who are diabetic, who suffer from hypertension and various other illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So yeah.
And I must thank you for being vulnerable and opening up so that persons viewing our program can be able to learn from your honesty and transparency. And I love the fact that you're also able to use your personal experience in your personal life to influence customers and to help them make wise informed decisions. I remember I went to a program, I did a program at Carnegie in 2014. And at the completion of the program, we were tasked with different recipes to make. And I had to make eggless chocolate cake. I'm laughing because I remember it as though it was yesterday. So I decided that I'm going to follow the recipe. And I started mixing and mixing and mixing, and the thing came out some other way than what it was expected. And when we baked the cake and we took it out of the pan, the entire cake fell in. So what I did, I took this white plastic and I just wrapped around the cake and just pull it together and put some red cherries on top of it and took it to the graduation. My oh my, persons enjoyed it if they only knew what was happening. So I love the fact that persons can come at your place, at your school, and they can actually get a hands-on teaching. You can actually guide them and help them to grow. And I love the fact that you pay specialized attention to persons when they're going. I'm not saying that doesn't happen at Carnegie, but I'm saying that I love the fact that persons also have options. See, if you're looking for maybe a one-on-one tutor or somebody to pay special attention to you, then Glitzy Glamour Cakes, you can go and you can get that kind of service. Correct?
Correct.
Lovely. So, Debbie, tell us, you've been in business for a number of years. Is there any significant recognition, award, or so on your business would have received?
Well, it's 12 years I've been in business indeed, and I've received award, but not from here,
Okay, interesting.
not from in Guyana here, but I would have from overseas when I did some courses, and I did give back to where I was taught, and yes, I was recognized for that.
Hmm. Okay. So, every day you wake up, what is your entrepreneurial mindset? What is your drive to get done for Glitzy Glamour?
Well, my drive is to for instance, I have a snacket, and I also cater to other snackets, and so I get up with that mindset that I have to prepare
Mm-hmm.
for these snackets. I
Mm-hmm.
have to ensure that what I'm sending out there is in proper order,
Mm-hmm.
and that I put my all into what I'm doing, what I'm producing. And even though, you would hear people say, oh, today I'm having a bad day, or some days I have good days, some days I have bad days.
Mm-hmm.
I go through that as well. But I cannot just sit down and say, oh, I'm having a bad day. I have to still do what I have to do in order to get my work out there. Get my,
Exactly.
my orders out there. I can't tell my customers I'm not feeling well
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not. So those are things that you have to be consistent with. And even if you are unable to do the amount of work you have to do, you also will have staff
Mm-hmm.
that will fit in those gaps for you and that sort of thing. But I'm a person that I like to see everything through. I want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure my customers are satisfied with what they have. They even if I'm not well, they mustn't notice a change in anything.
Mm-hmm.
What they're accustomed to receiving is what they will still continue to receive. And that's very important.
And what you shared reminded me of my discussion with a Guyanese critic last week when he said, as an entrepreneur, you've got to be unsatisfied. You've got to continue to push and you've got to be hungry. You see, when you're hungry, it sends you with a different mindset and you have to get up and make things and get things done. Whether you want to or not, whether it's a good day or a bad day, you still got to push, and that is entrepreneurship. You've got to be ruthless. You cannot be satisfied and settle. You've got to push. You've got to try to better your last sale. You've got to continuously improve yourself and be at the top of your game and things like that reach out to me and makes me think, especially when we're talking about entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship people believe is a fly by night. And I know that you can attest that there were many long, long roads. Sometimes you feel like giving up. You're wondering if I'm making any sense. Do I need to go and get employment? And sometimes temptation comes because you're seeing a job description wanting the qualifications that you have, and you even have more, and you're tempted to go and apply and wondering what the salary will give you, but at the end of the day, you chose to remain an entrepreneur.
Let me share this little story. So, we had the COVID-19 in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to that, things were a bit on the down low for me
Mm-hmm.
the year before that. And I was now starting to get myself together in the new year. This would be 2020. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
January, things were starting to pick up. I was venturing into another business, hospitality training business. I was now working to launch, and I was so excited about that. And then COVID hit,
Oh my.
and everything had to change. I didn't get to launch my new business. There was nobody was ordering anything because everybody was home,
Mm-hmm.
and so you were feeling like I had this feeling that, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I can't work. I can't prepare anything for anyone because everyone is home. And then eventually things started to a little bit start to pick up a bit, not
Mm-hmm.
much. But customers that I had that used to order cakes and different things from me for functions and all that now started their own little business.
Interesting.
doing catering and all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I lost a couple of customers in that way. But it didn't stop me, even though I was feeling down and I was feeling like I wanted to look to do something else other than my passion. I said, look, you know what? I'm not going to let this get me down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to push. There are things that I can do that is not being done, the persons are not gravitating towards. And I started looking for other avenues that I can still do what I'm doing, but do another service. And that's where the diabetic, taking care of diabetic persons' needs came into play.
I love it.
Doing vegan dishes, because I realized that there are a lot of persons who they can't use dairy foods or anything, certain meats and all of these things, and there was nobody here who was really doing actual vegan food.
Mm-hmm.
Vegetarian food and vegan food is two different things. And people, yes, was advertising vegetarian, but not vegan that much. Now, of course, you have persons offering vegan dishes, but
Yes,
it wasn't like that at that time. And I started gravitating towards doing that, you know. And also, in the meantime, during the pandemic, I studied health coaching.
interesting.
And so I
Health coaching.
started being able to, I got a couple of clients that I was able to work with in terms of coaching them with their health. So I had to look for other avenues, but still stayed in what I love doing.
Lovely.
So sometimes we have to be innovative,
Mm-hmm.
stay within our goal, but you find other avenues within that goal
Yes.
to something new and fresh,
Mm-hmm.
to still be able to be relevant in what you
Lovely.
do.
And that is why you would find me probing to get persons to talk about some of their major difficulties and setbacks to understand and learn how they were able to be resilient because I can relate to you. I was working in public service and while I was working in public service I started a business which was doing really well, training. And I left the public service in 2019 October and officially did a business launch in January, or I think it's late January, early February. And March 11, 2020, I cannot forget, Guyana recorded its first COVID-19 case. Bloops. Place shut down. We also had elections. And since then, my business went into hibernation because persons were not doing training. And then to be in hibernation for so long and now gotta come out back and to build and to be resilient and to motivate yourself to move from a position of operating at home to come back and to interact with society and to get things going, get back on your game is difficult.
Yeah,
Some
it
of
is.
the motivational stuff that we would listen to the videos no longer motivated me. So I now have to find the new things, new innovative strategies to come up. We were able to farm our network and now offer training to the network. And now I'm getting back full time into reaching out to my clients. So I can relate to you. COVID-19 affected many businesses, but yet it was still an opportunity for the birth of several other businesses.
Good
And as we would
businesses,
have
yes.
also echoed from the sentiments shared by Guyanese critic last week, and I keep referencing him because I did mention the interview was powerfully spit fire. So as we didn't learn from last week, every single Guyanese can afford to start a business and to be innovative. Nobody should be in poverty because opportunities are so much. Persons can be innovative and work and be able to get things going. So, what advice then, Debbie? You wanted to say something before? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What
You're
advice
talking.
then do you give to somebody who's struggling in business and is thinking about giving up?
Well, that's what I would say to them. You know, once this is something that you love doing,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be it's not going to be a smooth road. You
Mm-hmm.
will have a lot of bumps along the way. Some huge bumps sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Some huge policemen you have to cross over,
Oh my.
right? In order to get to where you want to go. It's not going to happen today, tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
next week, or anything like that. And sometimes that is the problem for some people because they want that quick success.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a quick success. There are people I've seen had quick successes, but how long did they stay relevant? How long did they stay in business? They
Good point.
crash. They crash at some point,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they have to dust themselves off and get up again.
You
While
lucky.
some just give up and say, look, this ain't working, and they let it go.
Mm-hmm.
But again, money management is very important in their businesses. And most people, their businesses fail because they were not able to manage their monies properly.
Exactly. Separate your
I
personal income
say
from
to
private
people,
from the business.
yes, exactly. Because we can do our shopping from the business money and all of that. You got to be able. One of the things I learned going to several business courses, but there were two places that stood out for me and helped me to some extent, and that was Action Coach,
Mm-hmm.
Guyana, and Outliers
Zone.
Zone. They were persons. Outlier Zone taught me to keep a record of everything, every penny
Mm-hmm.
that I spent. Even if I bought a $20 sweetie, write it down.
Yes.
Everything that you bought for the week, that day, whatever, write it down. Don't just say, oh, it's just $20, it's just $1. Write it down. And let me tell you something. At the end of when you add all those dollars and all those money that you didn't think was significant, you would be surprised
Indeed.
as to how much money you spend per day.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So you have to learn to keep your books in order.
And that's it. Many
Truly
people don't
helps a
like
lot.
bookkeeping. But there's the most critical
But
part. Many people don't like bookkeeping.
exactly, you also need to I didn't either. I ran away from it. But when I learned it from Outlier Zone, I realized the importance of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you're able to know your breakthroughs, your breaking points, etc. Also, it's important to pay yourself a salary. You're working for you.
Mm-hmm. That is a
Pay
critical
yourself a
point.
salary. That's the critical point. Pay yourself a salary.
And
And
it
once you
therefore
do
means
that,
that you need to
whatever,
push so that your business can be afforded to pay you. Because if your
exactly,
business is not making sense and you taking out money to pay yourself, then you're in trouble. And that is
exactly,
it. There's a difference between entrepreneurship, there's a business between a small business owner, a person making a hustle, and there's a difference between persons who are just owners of their job.
right. So once you pay yourself a salary, and you can't look to pay yourself a big salary if your business is not to the point
You know, right?
that gonna give it that to you. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be realistic
Mm-hmm.
because you must have money to turn over in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of people fail because they don't have that money to turn over in the business.
Mm-hmm.
You see? They're spending it for this, that, the thorough. One of the things I heard critics said, and he's very much correct, is that you have to ensure that you
Invest the money in business.
you invest your money in business, but that you don't spend all that money. Like if, for instance, you get loans. Let's say you go
Mm-hmm.
take out a loan to buy products for your business. But then when you get a loan now, you say, oh, look here, I got fix.
Well, let me fix
Let's
this
use some of
house.
this money to fix this car
Well,
and
mad.
stuff like that. No, you cannot do that. You borrow this money for the business. You have to ensure that that's what you're using it for. Because and you have to have that mindset, and you have to have that what's the word I want? That substance to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To be able to do, it's not substance I want to say. Help me out. The word is at the tip of my tongue. The control,
Yes.
the focus, to know that this is what you want to do, and to go towards using it, that one, to do what it is that you want. The minute you divert, you have problems.
But you know, Debbie, some persons are of the opinion that taking loans and being indebted is bad. But actually, how do you feel persons acquire wealth? You have to take a loan to be able to invest. Let you take other people's money and let that money work for you. And in doing so, you're able to invest and you're able to grow. So I
And I
just
guess
want to put that out there as well.
that's where the risk comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you take that, when you borrow that money, and I think there's most people are kind of a little bit afraid of that, they may not be able to pay that loan every time they have to pay. But that's where the sacrifice comes in.
But if you want to put it as critics put it point blank last week, person drinking is a risk, and yet still persons going willingly and drink and get drunk and go in an accident. But if to take a risk to grow your business and to ensure that you're better off, you're scared.
Right.
Something is wrong with you.
Exactly. So that is what I feel, that some persons may think that they may not be able to do that. But you have, again, you have to have some control. You have to have a focus. You could say, look, this is you're putting aside this money to pay to pay back this loan, and you have to focus on that. And don't let anything deter you from that, because it's important that you pay back this loan. You see?
But Debbie, you also sugarcoated the advice to persons who are struggling in business and are thinking about giving up. I would say to that person point blank, if you want to give up, give up. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're actually correct. Whether you think you can do it, you can succeed, you're correct. Whether you think you cannot succeed, you're correct. What you believe and what you tell yourself is what you will work towards and what will manifest. Entrepreneurship is no plaything. When you get up in the morning, you've got to get a hungry mentality and a hungry mindset and tell yourself that you're going to go out there as if your life depends upon it, because it does. So you're going to work with a different energy and you're going to cultivate or develop that entrepreneurial characteristics, which is being hungry, which is going out there and being fierce, which is taking calculated risk to ensure that you succeed. And pure persons wanting to give up, giving up is not a trait of entrepreneurship. You've got to be stiff-necked, you've got to be hard-ass, you've got to be dedicated and persevere.
But that's why you ask them why they went into it in the first place.
Yes.
So once they understand that why of going into the business, then they have to understand what it entails to get there. And that's where, again, a mentor is important. Because a mentor now will help you to guide you and to pinpoint what you need to put in place, what you need to do in order to stay consistent.
Yes.
And to not give up. You
And
see,
it is also
I
important to note that many persons are functional, but they're not fulfilled. They're not working within their purpose or their passion or their calling. And that is
yes,
why when you look at several institutions, you find lots of challenges because people don't genuinely want to be there. And when you get onto it, it's like you put a square peg in a wrong hole or whatever the saying is. But what I'm trying to say is, when you understand what it is you came to this earth to do, that calling in you drives you. And if you develop whatever it is your talents, your skills, and your abilities, you won't one day work in your life because it would be easy. And it would motivate you to get up and to get things going. And when the going gets tough, because it's something that you really love doing, your brain started thinking of innovative ways to make these things work. And of course, we'd want to link this as well to the 5 second rule. The first 5 seconds, a great idea comes to you. All right, Marlon. Marlon, start a business. And if I don't have form in that first 5 seconds, me start a business, me get no training, me get no money, I ain't know nobody in my family who get a business, people talking about how much small businesses fail, and all kind of nonsense. Really and truly, if you have form within the first 5 seconds, your brain sends, your brain work wonders. What's this? There's University of Google. I don't have to get everything in check. There's somebody in the street I can go and get information, and if they don't tell me, I'm gonna find somebody in the field and I'm gonna study them. Accessing finance, I could borrow money, I could put up money, I could save instead of spending money on phone, Chinese food and phone cards and data plan. I invest this money because I want to see it grow. And different things, your brain works differently. So what decisions are we making within 5 seconds that is affecting our lives and affecting our choices? Interesting to note.
yeah, it is. You know, it's important that you know what it is that you want to sacrifice,
Hmm.
that you have to sacrifice with in order to make it. And that's why I say to people that don't go into something because of the money. Because sometimes we look at other people and we see that they're being successful in what they're doing. And we
But
like, oh,
allow me to
let's
stick a pin
see
there,
what
Debbie.
this thing.
You mentioned this thing the second time. Allow me to just clarify. When you said don't go into business and don't think about the money, money is important. And
No,
they
no,
say money
no,
don't bring
no,
happiness. I want to see for myself.
no, no, I'm not saying, no, that's not what I'm
Oh,
saying.
because
I'm
I'm in business to
saying,
make money, and
if,
everybody else in business to make
no,
money
no,
too.
no, no, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying.
Just playing
I'm not
wicked.
saying not to go in. I'm not telling you that not to go into business and not think about the money. I'm saying that if you want to go into business,
Hmm.
it has to be something that you want to do. A lot of
Yes.
people go into business, but it's not what they want to do. They're looking at the money that they could make with this thing.
Hmm.
But if it's not a passion, they're not gonna put their all into it
Hmm.
to get out to get the money that they want from it.
Lovely.
You understand me?
Hmm.
It's like, okay, I'm into food, but then I decide, oh, I'm gonna start doing I'm gonna start doing construction. Cause
Hmm.
construction making money right now.
Hmm.
People building houses and so on. And I decided I want to go in construction. I know nothing about construction. I don't even like being in amongst more than those type of things. I don't even know to hammer nothing in nothing. But because construction making money, I decided I want to go into it. But it's not my passion. I'm not passionate about it. And so I will not put the all into it that I want to put, that I
Hmm.
should be putting in. That's what I'm trying to say. But of course, who doesn't want to make money?
Hmm.
Who doesn't want to be in something to get them wealthy? But if you're not passionate about it, it's not gonna work.
I think
Simple.
trouble is right there, Debbie. And passion and purpose and money. I think that all is contextual based on the context we look at it. And based on the context, we can be able to understand it better, and persons will not be carried away with different information than what we're trying to say. So while we just have a summary of your business, we're going to ask our technician to just replay the pictures so that persons can see what you offer while you give us a summary. And while you're doing that as well, tell us how we can contact Glitzy Glamour.
Okay, so we are located at a public road acquaintance. This is in Rumfeld, in
Mm-hmm.
opposite the Rumfeld police station. And like I said, I we don't have a storefront as yet. We are an online business, home-based business, and we can be contacted on 680-4171.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we have the promotion. Of course, Good Friday is around the corner, and is also here. And we know that we have the cross buns, that it's a staple in everyone's home
Ha ha ha.
for Good Friday. And so we have a cross bun sale going on right now, and um, it's a part of our Toastmasters club.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't know if you have the picture you can put up with it, but it's that's what is happening right now.
Okay, and
And
you
it's
mentioned about this
1500
Toastmasters Club.
for
Can you just give us in
pardon.
30 seconds an idea of what it is?
So the Toastmasters Club is a club that helps to enhance your public speaking abilities and skills. If you are someone who would like to do public speaking, or you're working for a company that you're the PR for and you have to do a lot of public speaking, Toastmasters can help in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps with time management, with the way you with the way you speak and
Mm-hmm.
articulate, and yeah, basically that's what it does.
So we can also
It can
contact
also
you to
help you to
learn.
make money too, because once you would have gone through at least two of the pathways, it can help you to really become articulate, and you can do voiceovers for ads. You can do keynote speaking. You can be a keynote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Persons can hire you to be a keynote speaker, so you can even make money from being a Toastmaster.
Interesting. Anything to make money, I am all there. Nothing that I don't do charity work, but you must understand times are hard and persons must be able to survive. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't blame me. Debbie, it was a pleasure having you this evening. I know coming down to the end, we tried to twist and wrap you up, but you were well. So it was a pleasure having you, and we enjoy learning about Glitzy Glamour, cakes, event planning, culinary school, and catering service. Quite a lot that you're doing, as well as the psychology aspect, and now you would have mentioned about Toastmasters. Thank you for taking time out from your schedule to interact with us, and it was a pleasure having you. Our guest, what can we do without you? You continue to show up every Tuesday night, and for that, we're most grateful. We're humbled. Thank you for your continued support. Remember to always share the live stream so that other persons can benefit from information shared here. I'm going to extend another invitation to the Guyanese critic so that we can have him back for a second. I believe the last time was short and he would have posited several nuggets and we want to get the most out of him. So I'm going to invite him back so that we can hear more from him. And I'd like to thank you for being an attentive audience. BB, Faithful Truly, Siandra, Sukram, Beverly, and several persons, not forgetting those that are joining from YouTube. I oftentimes forget. I don't know, the names are not showing. clear, but it's a pleasure to have you. I am Marlon Joseph, your host, signing out for now. Do take care.